I love her pussy juices. It tastes like yazoo. It's like, what's that? Like, you know, you know what I mean? Though it's all them little things, and it's like, like, and people come up to me and go yazoo, and I'm like,
Welcome back to Everything from Nothing, Ireland's greatest situation. Sound for watching last week's episode. Owen was a good episode. This week's our guest this week. I'm going to read out the introduction, and our guest this week has, without a shadow of a doubt by now, established himself in the Irish music industry. He's a major organ within Ireland's most incomparably original music label, PX Music, a group of Irish prodigies putting their feet down on all things cheesy in the Irish hip-hop scene, leaving their authentic and eternal talented footpaths in the scene. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing one of Ireland's greatest storytellers, who's the only man I know to ever feature a baby goat eating an orange in his music video. He's a catalyst. He's a catalyst of creativity in Ireland. It's Hazey Haze. How's it going, man?
How's it going? That's lovely. Well, thank you. That's a nice thing to hear. I tell myself that every morning, but it's nice to hear from someone else. Nice. Joking.
It's good.
How's things? Are good?
Good, yeah. How's things you? You've Krome there with you as well.
Yeah, we have Krome here.
What's the story?
The main man.
All right, Krome.
Krome is going to be the world leader in like 10 years.
Nice one. Yeah, you were just after the Tommy Tiernan show. Like, how is that? Sorry, no, I fucking got confused there with this thing. Yeah, you were just on the Tommy Tiernan show. Like, how did that go for you? What was that like?
It was a sick experience, to be honest. It was real nice. Just as I always say, the adventure as well. Like, you know, the adventure of even getting up there, and it was straight in and out. Really, and you could see the format on television. We were all in a big circle going clockwise, but we did it like, I think there was like 4 takes, and it was in and out. But it was just really nice to see the professional side of things, you know. Yeah. With so many people behind the camera, so many people on set, and so many people in tune with everything, you know. Everything just, and as I said, the adventure was even more because we got to stay in a hotel as well, the whole lot, and it was just great crack.
Yeah, I checked into our hotel with a Lidl bag for life.
Wait, what was it?
A Lidl bag.
A Lidl bag for life.
All right. Yeah.
Was that your first time up on RT? Yeah.
That was the first time in RT. Yeah.
That you'd imagine, like, because you've got quite a big following there. It's just looking like there's, what was it? There's like 30,000 views on your YouTube thing or whatever. You'd imagine you should have been up before now, like, you know.
Yeah, I just think it's, as everyone says, and I think we know ourselves, it's just a style and vulgarity. I think of it.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so. Anyway,
I saw something cool on the Limerick Post that described you as hip hop's Shanachie. You know what I mean?
That's sick.
Yeah. Lovely.
Really, that's
cool. And like, I was thinking as well, like the Irish accent has become cool in hip hop, but there was a stage when it wasn't cool. So like, how did that kind of come true, or what changed it? You know?
They definitely did that. I think Limerick did that, and Gavin, like the PX lad. Yeah, sorry, go on anyway.
Yeah. It's like I don't know. I think like for Southwest, like even with Limerick anyway, I can speak for myself and say like we're very, very nasally, you know. And it's very. It's when we talk, it sounds like you're kind of singing anyway, because we're like, and not as much as a Cork man, no, not as much as a Cork man, but I don't know. I think it's the accent is just it's very nasally. It's very like the likes of how you say certain words like car. It's very all these little things. I don't know. It's definitely just the accent is because it's so nasally and so melodic, and I think it's because the shit we're saying as well. You know, it's put into you're not. How can I say you're feeding the accent more by using certain words, you know, like using your own slang and things like. So I try to use as much slang or as much just tiny little bits of Irish and things like that, and just little things. So and I could use my own accent and how I would say it or how I would pronounce these things, because I often pronounce stuff and people go, "Do you pronounce it like that?" And I'm like, "That's exactly how I pronounce it." And they're like, "That's cool. I never heard someone pronounce it like that," you know.
I think cool, for me. like, because I like coming from someone, like, clearly I'm not from Ireland, you know, so when it was like Irish hip hop, I was like, what, how is that going to be anything that I can kind of click in with? And I heard a little bit of it, like when I first moved here, and I thought, the accent really just didn't work for me. But now, having lived here for longer and listened to a lot more of it, I actually don't notice it anymore, because I'm so engrossed in the stories now. I'm more familiar with the culture, and like I would have worked in mental health out in Limerick and the Midwest for a long time now. Like, I really fucking I totally get it, because I'm familiar with the stories in the background and the authenticity, and like it's telling it exactly as it is. And I think as well, like that, not only does the accent not translate initially well overseas, but like the kind of stories that you're telling and the things you're talking about makes people sort of go, what, really? You know, but that's what's going on, and that's what people need to hear, because those things aren't out there. They're shoved under the carpet.
Yeah.
There's a big authenticity thing with it as well, in the sense that, like, if you're talking about stuff that's happening in Ireland and you're not using your own accent, like, it's very hard, I think, to believe someone, especially because a lot of like hip hop as well is like being real to like what you are and who you are. That you know, if you can tell someone isn't really using their own voice and they don't feel comfortable in themselves, then I can't really believe what you're saying to me through music or whatever, because you're not being yourself. Like, I don't know.
Exactly. And from like my experience of like what I've seen in the past in Irish hip hop, like it coincides, like it was the same people sort of putting on the Americanized voices, like that were the same people rapping about stuff that just wasn't relevant to their lives. And like, as you're saying, I think that's what goes hand in hand. It's just like, just overall lack of authenticity. And you just had a post, didn't you, on Instagram, Hazey, about that, about like, what were you saying? Something about, did I just read that today? Like, it was about like keeping it to your own side. You said something about like Limerick, because Limerick was even a name of like a type of poem.
I was saying it because it's like, I could see people like lately, and this is just me now as well, to myself, I had to put it up because I seen like last week, there's all these like young rappers now that are doing things in Limerick. They're like, oh, we're out here and we're doing this, we're going to put Limerick on the map. And I'm like, excuse me, bro. Limerick is on the map. What do you want about? Excuse, like, get yourself right now here in a minute. Like, that job is done. That job is done. Like, don't worry yourself. Just be true to you and yours. Like, and speak for your own place. Like, I speak for the island. I'm a Limerick man, but I'm Limerick Island. That's what I represent myself, no matter what. If I'm asked where I'm from, I'll say I'm from Limerick. I'm from the island.
Specifically,
I never say Limerick, because that's what I represent, and that's what I expect everyone else to represent. If you're from South Hill, if you're from Weston, like Wilsey's from Weston, and he represents Weston to the core, like to the core. Do you know? Same with Gavin, he rips Tipperary to the core, and he'd always shout out Limerick. He'd say, I'm with the Limerick scene, but Tip.
Exactly.
Tip. He'll tell you that Tipperary butter's better, Tipperary water's better. And he's right. He's right in his own way. It's true. It's true in his own way. Like, look, we have him hanging it on. Look, we have him.
That's it. You know? Yeah, Turles fresh milk, and it just gets, But even Gavin, like, it was cool, wasn't there? It was a Vice or Buzz or something like that that had like an article from you that was, and I don't know, like, and I know, like, it must be class to have like prescription in it, but even like seeing like the word Tipperary in like a Vice article, I was like, Jesus, these lads are doing things. What the fuck? Like,
it's madness. It's like
mad.
Gavin Da Vinci down in Tipperary is like fucking a god, like.
Exactly.
You know? Because no one has really done what he's done down there, like, you know.
No.
It's a bit less in Limerick because he's doing it in Limerick and everything. So it's like when he comes back home, it's like if we were to leave the country, and if you were to go away and start gigging for a full year doing everything, while you're gone, they'd be like, he's ours, like. He's from Limerick, that's ours. So when you do come home and everyone's gonna be like, fuck, like that, you killed it. You're with us, like, we're with you. You know, you're ours, like. That's
Even like we played a gig in Thurles for Gav's album launch. Super Scumbag Mode. We played that last year, or it was about a year ago, like. And I remember like all of us played like a small set or whatever, and the crowd was great. It was a lovely crowd. But the second Gavin went up, then it was like something switched in the whole place, and the place just went mental.
It was just like, come on, boys, hurry on. When's Gavin on? Like, come on, like, let him on, you know? It was lovely. And then the one song, I love that thing about you. Love that. That was like, that's dangerous. Like, don't be in the crowd for that. Like,
I remember that. I remember that coming on. But I do remember Ollie, like, I don't know, I can't really remember fully, like, but I was at that gig, and I remember, I don't know, like, he did, because Kendy's, like, that place where it was at, like, that place has a history in Thurles. Like, I've done loads of gigs there before, and it's just, like, you did kind of get away with anything, like, in that place, and it's, like, known for that. But, like, it was cool to, like, see, I don't know, it looked like you were like, well, I've seen that with a good few of your gigs. Like, it reminded me of like the wildness of like, I seen you knocking stocking too. And there was just that wildness that was also at Kendy's that night that was really cool. And, well, yeah, definitely, I think there was a lot of like Gavin's close ones and stuff like that were probably like helped push that to be like. Yeah.
We always go with the same approach, and we've always done it from years ago. It doesn't really matter how many people are there. Because I've done shows to fucking 3 people, like, you know, and and still getting paid for it, like going down to fucking Kilkenny or something, and a young fella opening up for you, and you're doing a gig for him, and you're still getting paid for it and all, but they're just there for him. Yeah. And you're literally there headlining the show, and there's 3 people literally watching you going like, I love Hazey's music, you know. But it's not like I'd go, there's only 3 people here, I'm going to half do this. I don't care who's there. Like, I don't care if no one shows up. I'm like, I'm going to murder this. Like, I'm going to absolutely. And if I get sick after every set, no matter what, if I don't get sick, then I haven't done a good job. Every
like
set
actual
of my
puke,
last
like,
song.
do you mean actual?
Like I usually get sick in my mouth near the last song, and I'm like, I really can't. Like, and they're like, come on, one more. And I'm like, yeah, we'll do one more. So, but you're going to have to help me. And then everyone always asks for what's that, of course. And then it's like, all right, so you can sing that at the end, and I'll just get sick over here in the corner.
Nice.
Self and Citrus come off stage, and everyone just knows to kind of give them like 5 minutes just to kind of sit down and like have a drink of water and
Citrus
get sick.
Citrus is my right lung, like, on stage. Like, he's the hype man and the whole lot. Like, and we get to the point where literally, because we fight on stage as well, like actually wrestle. Like, as you probably see before, we wrestled. No shoes on, no jumpers, just pants and wrestling. Like, and like the very minute we finish, the 2 of us literally run straight off stage, and we'd be in a cubicle alongside each other, just like 2 high hyenas with the backs up, like, I'm all right, bro. I'm all right, bro. I'm all right. You sure? I'm all right, yeah, I'm all right.
That's really good. That's a really good advert. It's like you work so fucking hard that you puke afterwards.
Yeah. And then you can't drink them for the night. You can't do nothing because you're just burnt out from getting sick.
You need to film like a behind the scenes thing of that. Like, that's mad.
There's some there. We have Mick Behan. He shot the videos for Citrus, and he shot the video for Pignorant as well. But he has a whole behind the scenes on the whole Misha tour. He came on the whole tour, like, so we have ourselves like backstage giving each other stick and poke tattoos, the whole lot, everything and anything. There's so much content there. I'll probably release it maybe later in the year as a behind the scenes thing with a few boys chatting about the tour and whatnot. Little documentary maybe, like, you know.
That's cool.
Something.
And especially some of the footage from some of the footage from that night in Dolan's is insane.
That was.
We had everybody up from Limerick, like, was ever.
I missed that one
on the stage. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was just like I was saying a while ago. It was like we started at Limerick with a listening party, and then we went around and did like 4 or 5 different counties, and then brought it back to Limerick for a die night. And it was when we came back, everyone was literally going like, yes, like, we're so happy that you brought it back here, the last one. And I was like, well, of course I am. Like, why wouldn't I? Like, you know, and that made the whole buzz so much better. The fact like that they got me to stage dive and all at the end. I never stage dived, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Like, what has your kind of trajectory been like? Because like, obviously you kind of share a lot of stories on the album about sort of growing up and your background and that. Like, that must have been some pretty mad trajectory, like going back there in your head to write the stuff, and then kind of to where you are now. Like, how was that transition been?
Yeah, it's a bit weird sometimes, to be honest, when people come up and just say lyrics to me, and I don't realize half the times how true the lyrics are, because I'll be just writing them and spitting them. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe that this happened, or like, was your nan an actual drug dealer? Like, I'm like, yeah, like, you know, and then I don't realize these little things that you're actually saying, and people actually take that because how can I say, like, I feel like I know my favorite artist because I listen to all his songs, and I feel I know him through his music. That's the only way I know him. So I only took it to me to last year after this mission. I realized, because the reason it was this mission was like, it's me. Like, I'm going to use all this stuff, and I'm going to put it in there, and I'm going to be straight up about these things. And after that, I realized I was like, okay, like, I have to be careful as well with what you tell people. Because I started doing like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I started putting up on Instagram hazy facts. Yeah. And that's just as a post, like, oh, I can't swim, I can't drive, and then, or I've never tasted this, or I don't like salt, or, you know, all these little.
You don't
things,
like salt?
Can I check a hazy fact? Yeah. Is it true that you started writing the lyrics on your uncle's used betting dockets? Is it?
That's exactly where I did it, down in the coal bunker, down the bookies, the Ladbrokes bookies dockets with small red biro.
Oh, those little biros, yeah.
So Ladbrokes influenced your style of writing, yeah?
You could say so. You could say so. That little square box confined me, yeah.
Yeah.
Confined me.
So you had to get to the point quickly, like, really, didn't you?
That's funny.
Literally, like, yeah. And I always had to write a little price at the end of it. How much I thought it was worth as well. We started. How it actually started, like, I was always into it. I used to love music and love the style of it. I was always into the clothes more than likely years ago. But Size, we were with Same D. I started off with a group Same D, and Size Dewey, which was Simon Dewey and Craig Dewey, is MCB and Size. They're two brothers, and they're my two brothers. I was reared with the two boys. They're from where I'm from, like. And Size would be like 3-4 years older than us, and we were out the Island Bank, like out the back bank, and we were drinking a 2 litre of cider. I remember on a sunny day. And this is in like 2012, 2013, I think it was.
That was a good year for a litre of cider.
Like, just doing our thing, like, you know. And then Simon, I knew he wrote years, but I never like heard him spitting or doing anything like that. And then we were just walking out the bank. We was always listening to instrumentals, like, and we had the 2-pack Do for Love beat, like, what you want to do for love. So he started spitting out of nowhere. Literally, he's like, why would I use a gun when I got a fist? And why would I use a fist when I have a spliff? It's a crazy world that we're living in, all bitter men, and it never ends. Do you believe we are heaven sent? People where I'm from, they like to regulate, and me, I like to celebrate, and just for the better days. And I was looking at him going, did you wrote that? You? Like, what? Your Size? Like, you do that, like, you know. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, if you can do it, then Jesus, we could do it. And he was like, he could definitely do it. Like,
what kind of age were you then? Like, when?
It was in 2012, 2013. So I don't know. Do the maths. I was sure. Nearly next year I'll be doing it 10 years.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So I'll be 13, 14. Yeah, 13, 14, and 25 this year.
All right. What is the island? Can you explain that, like, just for any outside listeners?
The island is a literal island.
Okay.
Literal island which holds about 300-400 people. Not even, I wouldn't say it, where it's pure regeneration area where most of the houses are knocked. It's the most unemployed place in Ireland.
Okay.
It's probably one of the small. It's one of the first communities as well in Limerick, and it was, if I'm fully sure, it's something got to do with King John's Castle, because I think people who worked in King John's Castle or something were put on that island as the people of the castle. Because the whole Shannon surrounds it like as a literal bowl. It's literally like a circle like this, and then King John's Castle is right there. You know, so it was just it's just a big patch of land, like, you know.
And we're in what was, like, obviously I know it's like a generic question, but like I feel like it's always going to lead to, but like what was there? I'd assume there wasn't much to do, and that's sort of what led to the drinking, which
the only thing that we used to do was walk the bank.
Yeah.
And at that, we weren't, as a young flower, we were never allowed in the bank because so many of our cousins drowned on the bank, you know.
Jesus.
Or killed themselves on the bank or by the bridges. So you're never really allowed. But that's how we used to be down the field with. I was never really into horses or anything, but all the boys, I was into horses. So you'd be able to just down the stables or just do a normal thing, or fucking. So when the houses started getting boarded up, we started robbing the copper and fucking windows and doors out of that and selling that. That's mostly what we used to do. We did fuck all, only like what was down there, really. You know? Walking the bank, smoking joints, and robbing copper on the border of houses.
I know,
that's
like,
literally it.
Like, you spoke about music generation before, and like
music generation.
Kind of, do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Because I think that's really cool. Like that, what music they did and how they've changed things.
The reason.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Like,
so the both of you and Krome, two of you were involved in that,
Yeah.
That built everything. Like,
Well, I was rapping.
How'd you get involved? How'd you get involved in that music generation?
I was rapping in a coal bunker, as I was saying, with the two boys for like 2 years non-stop. Never showed anyone that I rapped. And we finished school. I finished 6th year, and then I did this course up on Nicholas Street, just by King John's Castle around the corner, like for the locals. It was for just getting your bearings, like build a CV kind of a thing. Just a simple old course, you know. But it came to the fact where all the girls wanted to do makeup once a week, and all the boys wanted to do soccer once a week. So the girls like, we're not playing soccer, and the boys like, well, we're not doing makeup. So then I was like, well, why don't we all do music? And then they were like, well, and I was like, well, you can't say you don't like music. Everyone likes music. So you're like, yeah. And then John Lillis came in that Friday with Boris Humke of one of the heads of Music Generation, and he walked straight up to me, and I never rapped at anyone, no mind, like, only the two boys, like, it is in front of all the locals as well. And John goes, "You're the rapper, yeah?" And I was like, yeah. And he goes, "Go on, spiff me, son." I was like, no. And he just started dissing me, like, freestyle into my face, dissing me, like,
no way.
in front of everyone, like, ripping me apart, like, and I was like, "Back up a minute, John, sit down a minute." And I started rapping then, and that was it, broke the bubble. And then we started going to rap classes. Rap classes were on once a week, every Thursday or every Saturday. And we were getting homework, like, it was like, go home, write a verse and or a beat maker was like, have a beat by this day. And it took, like, I think it was 2 months, 3 months of that workshops. This is before Krome was in the workshops. These are the first ones. We got to do a gig at the very end of it. So that was the first time we were on stage. That was in 2015. That was the first show we got to do. That was like the outcome of the rap classes. And then a year later, I was literally teaching the rap classes with Music Gen. So it was like, it was a whole dream come true, like, for it to be picked up by him, to be showed the ropes by him, and then to join him. It's actually beautiful. Like, it was.
That's really cool.
Do you think you would have done it without
Shout out
them?
to Andy Connolly, and John Lillis.
Do you think you would have done it without them? Like, anyway, because you're already doing that kind of thing.
I think I would have been too rude. Too rude and too how can I say it? Too scumbaggy, if that's a way to put it. Because I don't know. I always judged people years ago. I never knew that. I always thanked them for teaching me how to, how can I say, be a good human. Like, you know, be like
more than the music, like.
I noticed, like, I used to always, like, just snaring people, like, you know, because you're just brought up like that. Like, you see somebody, you go, watch him, like, I mean, man, watch this, like, you know. And I just realized that it's like, why are you even doing them little things, you know?
And that's all.
I know, it's just like, not that they said this to me, it's just that you realize they're just good people, and they just. And I remember going home to my mother after like 2 or 3 weeks of recording the first EP, Basic Instinct with CMD. That's in 2015 as well. I remember going home after 2 weeks of recording, and I goes, I finally met real people. I said, she was like, "What you mean, real people?" Cool. Because I've met genuine real people, like, for the first time. I'm like, I see different now, like, you know. I thought everyone was just like crabs in a bucket, like, just literally like going like, "What are you going? What are you wearing that for? Come on, rapping, come here, but come down here," like, you know. But he was like, "Oh, you need to write more," like, and I'm like, "Oh, I have two verses and a chorus," and he was like, "Well, that's no good, like, you lead the tree." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't need the tree, all right," you know. And if it's shit, he would have taught me it's shit, you know. And I'd be like, "You're a prick, boy," and he'd go, "Yeah, but you need that," and I'm like, "Yeah, you do need that." You know. So it was that personal thing, but it was that. I call him the guru. Deviant is the guru to be, like, you know.
I'd started coming in, like, and I got onto that because a couple of years after you, but I got on because God knows, I grew up in Shannon. And God knows, little brother was like one of my best mates. So when I started making music with him, God knows, started like put me onto whatever. And eventually he brought me out to Music Gen because he was doing classes there with Murley, and Andy Connolly as well. I remember going in, like, and at the time I was rapping in, like, I was either rapping in like a really heavy American accent or a really heavy English accent. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
And I was like 13 or 14. And I remember Andy Connolly used to sit me down, like, in a class, and he'd take me out and he'd, like, make me go through a verse, and every single word that had, like, the slightest tinge of any sort of accent that wasn't mine, he'd be like, "No, do it again." And I'd be sitting there for hours just, like, doing bar after bar after bar. And like you said, you'd be terrified going in, like, because and, like, if the verse wasn't any good, he'd tear you apart, like. But, like, honestly, the boys, like, everything that I'm able to do now is because of, like, doing it in Music Gen. Otherwise, I still be sitting,
like,
rapping
how I'm speaking to you right now is
It's
part of the two boys, like.
But the thing is, like, it's fucking, like, what you're gonna do, and, like, people will see this looking back, and there will, like, become this sort of history. And, you know, you'll always account for the stuff that's sort of the failure stuff with the history. Not failures, but, like, the sort of growing pains of it. But, like, I think you are now the core basis, because the thing about it is like, it's really hard to fucking, to have not done an American accent, because if all rapper you've heard is from America or England, like, how can you not do it?
Totally influenced, like,
yeah. And I
like,
think
all my favorite artists are American, like. You know? Being reared on DMX, Eminem, The Game, like, how is it? How hard is it, like, to actually stick to your own accent? It is very hard, like.
Yeah, because you're doing something that's never done before.
That's at the start though as well. But I suppose when you keep doing it, then it becomes second nature, and you don't even realize that you're writing in your own accent because it's just natural. Like,
Do you think the Rubber Bandits kind of made it more comfortable? You know, people
I think
their
I
accents.
think they did. I think they did in a way. I think they did in a way. Yeah. Like, and what they're doing now is so good. And I'll actually give you a little thing. I'll tell you that I'm actually got a beat off Blind Boy, and it just finished it yesterday. Finished the tune yesterday.
No
It's
way.
coming out maybe in the next few weeks. So
That's
that's
sick,
a little
man.
insight as well.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
That's
he's
cool.
A1. Blind Boy is fucking
Isn't
obviously
he?
the legend, the Limerick. Like, he's a
Yeah.
legend, like, you know.
I-
And he's lovely as well. He's so much support for us as well. Like, he always gives a shout out. Always drops a text and just goes, "Fair play, here's love," or always puts it up on Twitter. And all them little things like that.
Even seeing him like tweeting about like PX and stuff is mad to me. I remember the first time I seen that, and it was like something that I've been involved in as well. And I was like, oh my god, Blind Boy, like of the Rubberbandits, like, you know, like growing up and like everyone has like Horse Outside on their phone and like Bluetooth to each other and everything. It's mad. Like that's like local legends, you know.
Yeah. When I first met him, I was actually in awe. Like, I was like, that's so sweet of him to actually walk over. It was in Pharmacia, and we're all drinking. Krome was sitting on something, we're all having a drink, and he walks over without the bag on, of course. Like, and he was like, "Can't wait for the album. Like, love your stuff, you know." It was just a month before Esmisha came out. It was around Christmas time, and I was like, looked at him, and he was like, "Do you recognize my voice?" And I goes, and he goes, "I'll be over here," and I'll be like, "I'm coming, man. I'm coming over now. I'm coming over right now. We'll have a conversation." Yeah, it's lovely stuff. Lovely.
That's cool.
And it definitely did influence me, because, like, I even notice when I'm singing, if I try to sing and I'm kind of having a laugh and I'm singing away, I realize that I'm like, oh fuck, it sounds an awful lot like the Rubberbandits, because that's literal, as I said, nasal and melodic. Like, I'm waiting for Shane and I'm just waiting for this. You know what I mean? It's not you're all here, like, you know.
It's all there. I think as well, like what you were saying about, like, I don't think, like, you know, sometimes it's not always like, you know, I'm gonna put this place on the map, like, you know, you definitely put like the island on the map. I mean, people can an influence on the map, but I think like what the Rubberbandits did is they put Limerick on RTE, which was putting like it on in a different place, and now that, like, you know, it
was just going to show you that it's not all Stab City, you know.
Yeah,
it's not all suicides and bad stuff like that. It goes through that Rubberbandits come out. And actually, when I first listened to the Rubberbandits, I was like, people are gonna think that Irish rap is a fucking comedic thing, like, you know. And I was getting kind of, why are they doing this? And then I realized that no, that's a different portion of art altogether. Like, you know, what they're doing is a completely different thing. Because would you ever think, when you first listened to Horse Outside or Spastic Hawk, things like that, that Blind Boy would be one of the head mental health people in the country?
Yeah.
Like, would you ever think of that? Like,
no,
what, on the church with no jumper on, like, going, like, talking about like, having a horse outside, fuck you on the Civic, to people actually asking that man, and people talking to him, actually taking advice from the man, like, you know.
But that's really cool, like, because I work in mental health, like, to have people like that, because, you know, people that work in mental health, like through the HSE, like, it's nothing. People don't kind of pay any attention. Everyone just wants to slate the system, you know. And so people will actually listen to someone like Blind Boy, because he's out in it, like, he's a real person telling a real fucking story. He's not sitting somewhere dictating.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
If you were to speak about things like, as I said, like, lately I've been talking about like the pornography thing.
Yeah.
Like, that to me, that to me is like, I don't know, the last year it's just been on the head, like, you know. And I've been writing, or have a song coming out soon about it, kind of a thing. But it's just them little things that, as I was saying, how could I say? I don't know, the little things that stick to something thing about you is what exactly makes you you. And if I was to talk about it, then obviously people look at me as like, oh, angry rapper Haze, you know, like angry, like this and that. But if I'm talking about that and I'm being straight up, I'm like, as I wouldn't post it. I obviously, when I'm posting it, I'm like, oh, will I often like post it and then immediately took it down, and then I'm like, what am I doing that for? Like, if I do it, and then the amount of people that even just reply to the story, and it's mostly women that reply to the story that will go, fair play to you.
Yeah,
you know, breaking that little bit. I know you might be breaking that whole stigma, but you're showing that you actually, that it's actually normal. Like, it's only normal. Like, you know?
So what is like?
That's what it is like.
So I seen that. Like, I wanted to talk about that a bit. Like, you posted a story, like, kind of just explaining, like, something that, like, I get into really heated fucking, like, debates about it. Like, genuinely, it's the one thing that I sort of can't, like, I'll get heated about it. Like, just with people when it comes to pornography and stuff, and like people like over glamorizing it and seeing it as this thing as an empowerment for women, and just not and ignoring so much of it. And it's like, we're in the world now where it's like just nobody is talking about the bad things, and I think that's the next thing. And
I got so weird about it there, like, I'd say in September last year, that I started looking up like what sites are run by women and all, like, and started using them.
Yeah. No,
And that alone, like if a young flat is doing that, like that goes to show you that like there's something wrong, like, you know.
Yeah, like it just
That kind of thing, like, and I know, like, as I said, I'm turned on by the smallest things, like, you know.
Yeah,
That's the whole verse is about that. It's the stupidest little things, and it could be that like things that you wouldn't even want to talk about, a scene in a film that you'd go, I shouldn't be any bit about that, because that's not one bit nice. But I'm still like that weird about it because you're so used to watching a certain type of something and seeing a certain type of something. Because like we're the first generation that you can literally look up whatever type of woman that you dream of and can see whatever done to her.
It's so crazy.
In 2 minutes, in the click of a finger. And it's mad. I just think it's mad.
Which there is, but there's also obviously a power thing that it's like, I think it's great as well that women like these days feel confident enough to be able to do that.
100%.
Like, to feel shame to that. That's amazing. That's incredible. Like, but there's definitely a thing of, like you were saying, with like there's certain sites and types that are more ethical than others. And I know, like, you know, like Pornhub or whatever has had its issues with the fact that like they're not, you know, properly
anyone can upload,
thing,
like,
you know? Exactly, yeah. And there's things on the site that shouldn't be on the site legally or anything like but yeah, definitely I agree with you, like that is
the thing I meant like with that, with the empowerment thing, was just like it 100% is, and I think it's a really cool thing for like for women or men or whatever, for anyone to do it. That's cool and stuff. I think though the thing is, and people are talking about like they're getting paid, like the top porn stars are fucking millionaires, and that's dope. That's cool. I think the part that is ignored is like all those like gritty parts that are uploaded on. That's the part I mean by empowerment. It's not empowerment when it's women that have like actually been fucking involved in the sex trade.
There's another thing as well. Like if you want to watch like behind the scenes shit on that as well, like it's like some of them actors are brought there and taught one thing, and then they're in the room, and then they're offered a bigger amount of money to do that thing. So then in your eyes, you don't see that. So then you just expect that when you have sex with a girl, that you expect all these positions or all these things to be done, and if not, then it's just born.
Yeah,
you know.
And
what happened? Like, and how did sex become born? Like, you know,
that's
that
so
kind of a thing.
Interesting. I've had like friends say to me before, like that, like, and because like I'm young and they'd be young too, that they would have like sort of got to experience like that from a really young age to see like pornography stuff. And I've had like friends say like that their first time that they did eventually have sex, that it was like they said like, but it's not what they thought it was. I don't think people were saying that like before porn. I don't think they were at all.
Not at all. Sure, you'd be only delighted with yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you're going around telling the boys, like, you'd be going telling all your friends, you'd be like, lads, you'd never believe it. I'm not a virgin anymore.
Yeah.
But the reason sex became boring was because there's such a massive disconnect from what it actually is, because of all that imagery
100%.
and media. Like, it's not boring when there's a connection. The disconnect makes it empty and fucking soulless. And,
exactly.
You know, that's what...
It's that expectation. That's that
expectation.
Yeah.
I think there's also a thing as well that it's just something as well that I think people forget, that like sex is something that's very different and personal to every single person. It can nearly mean something different to everybody. And it's, I think some people find it hard to remember that when they see it one way and someone sees it another way, and I don't know. It's a very strange thing. But
that's why there needs to be more dialogue around it. You know, people just kind of like, I do it my way, you do it your way, and then we just shut up and say nothing about it, and then the disconnect grows and grows and grows, and everybody's missing out on something that could be a lot better.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with people who just like to go and do whatever they do, have fun, like, and do whatever like that. It's just, and I'm saying this as well, and I don't know what the answer is to it. Like, it's just something that's been bothering me, like, as a person, like, you know. If you were to ask me what you think we should do, I'd be like, I haven't a clue. Like, I'm asking you, like, do you feel the same? Because I feel like this, you know.
But that's
I don't even have an answer.
Yeah, you can't get an answer without talking. Like,
exactly. I think like the level of detail like that when you put it into songs and stuff like that gives out the authenticity. Because you're right, whatever's going into your mind, it doesn't matter. You don't need to filter it as such, and that makes it believable. Makes the whole thing seem kind of authentic, you know. And you'd be surprised, when you do that, like, and stuff that you're half embarrassed to put up. You really hit the goal then, you know.
I've noticed with most of my music, I'm very sexual with lyrics and things. Like, I always talk explicitly, mostly explicit as sex, like, it's visually like. But that's what I've been trying to do, as I said, after this mission and doing all that. It was like, all right, let's talk about it in a different light and a more honest light. Like, all right, I know we all love to have sex and do whatever. It's lovely. No one's gonna say no, I don't want it. Do you know, if you really want it? But it's like, let's be just so we're all a bit wide, like, you know, that everyone is that bit different and everyone has a different view on what sex is, like, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, that kind of feeds into something I wondered about, like, that because it's been a year since the album was released, like, have you reflected on certain bits of it? Like, because, you know, you said what was on your mind for the album and you put all of that out. In the year that's gone by, have you kind of looked back and sort of learned from it for yourself, internally reflected and looked at all the aspects of it?
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah. Even like just topics and things, like, you know, like there is some fun songs in there as well, but there's obviously some things you go, oh yeah, I actually said that, like, you know.
yeah.
Or I said that it's actually it's that dirty, or feel like feline friendly or something. Like I really love pussy, but that bitch dressed me out. Do you know what I mean? That's just like, it was fun writing it and it was fun doing it and it was doing all that. But then I'm looking at it and I'm like I love her pussy juices. It tastes like Yazoo. It's like, what's that? Like, you know, you know what I mean? Though it's all them little things, and it's like, like, and people come up to me and go Yazoo, and I'm like, oh.
Do you want to be remembered for that?
Yeah, like, because people even put up the stories, like if they have a Yazoo, they just tag me. You know, and it's like, oh God, dude. I hope people don't actually think that it tasted like Yazoo.
Yeah.
Hey, we were listening to that What's That, you know, song today in the office. It's going around in my head. It's really catchy, but where did that come out of?
That is literally, I wrote that. That was on a guitar. It was like a bum ba dum ba dum ba dum bum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum, and it was like, yeah, it was like, what's that song from around the corner? Bang da bang da bang bang. Who's that in again? The wall, la goes some of another gang. It was like, that's what it was at first. And when I first joined PX, I wasn't even PX at the time. It was still Prescription. But I recorded a song called "It's Down as Sniffles" on the Drug EP. That was the first song I've ever recorded with the boys. So that was the cocaine is in your nasal nostril. That was like the peak, I think, anyway. But then we did the What's That, and I just, every day I was going out doing 8 bars or 4 bars. And I was saying to Murray, I was like, I want every time it drops for me to get more hyper. And he was like, oh, so you're not going to stop? And I go, no, I'm going to keep going and going and going and going and going. And then I didn't realize that. Now when I do it live, I'm like, why did I make the song like this at all? Because it's non-stop. I don't even get a chance to breathe. The chance to get to breathe, I have to go louder again. But I just came from literally going, it's kind of a, the verses are like, hold up, this is a hold up. It's like me walking into a room full of every other rapper. Hold up, yeah, this is a hold up. Nobody fucking move, you be getting your throats cut. It's like I'm talking to every rapper, then it's just like, just to let you know, like,
so is that
me, I'm around the fucking corner, like. And it's actually true as well. I walked out of my aunt's house one night and I heard fucking 6 shots, like, and I heard and then I went back in the door into my aunt's house, so I stayed there for the night, and that's where the chorus came from. Was like,
that's mad. Fuck. Yeah, I think that is the difference between you lads and like fucking, your songs are like, like, I don't know, you do the stuff you're talking about is from experience and stuff.
That's like, where true truth comes from. That's where the tag true truth comes from. If you hear that true truth in the song, that means that it's true. Like, there's other songs like the likes of Tiptoe, it's not in there. It's not in Feline Friendly, it's not in CJ Soul because
I never noticed that, man. That's really mad.
You know, but if you ever hear me go true, and you go, oh shit, that's why that's the tag to go, this is real.
That's
like every
really
word of
cool.
this is my story or a story by someone else or something that I've encountered. So that's true.
That's really good. I'd heard that and thought, why isn't that in all of them?
That's cool.
That's the whole reason why. Like, I never even say that to anyone because usually it's like it doesn't come up. Like, but that's the reason why true truth is there.
Wow.
That's savage. With your music as well, like there's like this sort of I don't know what the word is, like I don't know how would you, like, it's like there's a sort of uneasiness to it. Is that, I don't know, like not uneasy, there's a better word for it, but I can't think of it. Like it's like a sort of sense of you're really like listening because I don't know, there's not like it's not like 4 chords and an angel harmony. Do you know what? It's like I don't know how to explain it, but
that's because it's not your usual songs like from 1 bar to 16 bars. Like, as 40 always says to me, he goes, when I come into the studio with you, he goes, I don't know what is going to happen. Like, because I don't know. He goes, there's no point me even coming from home with an idea because you're just going to go, nah. Like, let's do something now on the bat. Like, let's do it off the bat. Like, let's do it right here.
PX is just weird like that.
It's so weird because he said it. He goes, when I go into the studio, he's like, I know, I probably have an idea what Krome is looking for. I probably know what Citrus is looking for. He's like, but I haven't a notion what you want. Like, and I'm like, but I don't either. Like, I haven't a clue what I want either. Like, but then like, even with loops and things, I always say to them, like, give me the intro like this, and then you're like, all right, the intro, and then they're making the next 4 bars. I'm like, no, what are you doing? Don't loop that. Like, no, like I need that different. That needs to be completely opposite to the, but still the same. You know, and it needs to change up every time and maybe bring it back. The second verse could be maybe the first 6 bars of the second verse could be maybe the same as the last 6 bars of the first verse, or something. Just it's just to keep you. How can I say? Everything change at the minute, so it's nothing's the same. It's not repetitive, and if it does switch, it could be the same lyrics, but the beat is different. And like we were talking about today, me and Murray was like, most people would record a chorus and copy and paste it. I've never done that because if you notice that any of my songs, every chorus gets louder and more angrier or more expressive, no matter what it is. So it's always different. So if I was to use the first chorus at the last chorus, it would sound like I'm like, why did he get so hyper if he's just going to be quiet again?
Does the speed always stay the same? Does it speed up or change? No.
Oh, no, the last while now, I'd say the new shit coming out, it's a new side of Haze as well. It's pure flow and it's onomatopoeia, but it's induced with speed.
That's cool.
It's very hard, I think, to oh, sorry.
No, go on.
It's very hard to like constrict yourself as well, I think, though, if you're coming into the studio and like even like I'm at the moment working on an EP and me and Danny back there, like I came in and we were like, we're gonna sit down now and we're gonna make a grind. There he is, Danny Lennon.
Danny
2K. We were sitting down and I was like, we're gonna make a grime EP. It's gonna be all straight grime, 140 drum and bass and all that. And we sat down and in like 3 hours we'd made like 3 like funk and soul beats that I didn't know what to do with them. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like it's hard then as well because people love to try and put musicians into certain genres as well. But I don't think there's anybody on PX that you could put into like one specific thing. I mean, Hazey's made like however many boom bap tunes and then like R&B tunes, and it's the same with
that's
like
what I tried to do with this Misha as well. It was like do so many different genres, and if you hear the new shit that myself and Danny are making, and I'm joking with you, Luther Vandross would shit in his pants with this shit.
That was
it's
really
some good shit.
Because when I started listening to the stuff, and then obviously I kind of came across PX and then I listened to everyone on PX, and I was like, what? Well, there is a theme. I kind of see the commonality, but everybody's completely different. And like I think that's what we stand out. Yeah, and like you get the really aggressive stuff, but then you get something like when April Fool kicked in on the album, and I was just like, that's fucking beautiful. That's like completely melodic and lovely, and that just carries you through. And I was like,
I think it's lovely to have a crew where no matter who you are, if you had a group of 10 friends that all of them would probably like a different artist in the crew.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Because people think I'm the best in the crew, and I know boys that think that Krome is the best in the crew, and I know other people that will go, "What are you talking about? Gavin's the best in the crew." And other people will be like, "Nah, you're not on Citrus, like, do you know, or like you're not on as well as that." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're dead right. Like we're all," and that's the thing we always say to each other. If I make a tune, or Krome makes a tune, like if he shows me and it's a banger, I'm going, "That is amazing. How the fuck can I top this?"
There's a real friendly rivalry,
and it's pure friendly. It's friendly competition, no matter what. Like if before I release something, all the boys obviously hear it. That's just natural because you want their opinion, artist's opinion, you know.
If one of us is asking each other for a feature, you know well that when that person's sitting down writing it, they're looking to body you on the track.
Every time.
There's no like, I'll stay at his level now. It's like if he's asked me to go on a track, I'm gonna.
I asked him to go on a track in December. Doc Beats made a beat called Neptunes. It probably the hardest beat that I've rapped up, and I won't lie now. I fucked it up. I fucked it up. I wrote a story about. I was like, what's the one job that's probably the most scariest job you could have? And I goes, a taxi driver. A taxi driver sees the most fucked up shit, you know. So I wrote a story about being a taxi driver, but it's a fucked up story. And I was like, Krome, I need you on this, bro. After this beat drop. That's 2 bars in, I didn't even want to be on the song anymore. I was like, "Why did you do that?" Like,
oh wow, that's
beat drop down Salamanca. I gotta murder.
That's what it's like with Strange every time though. Making tunes with Strange boy, you may as well not make the tune.
I love that. Though. Same, but that's actually the fact of the third track on this Misha, Shameful Ali. It's a Mankey beat. I asked Mankey, I was like, "Mankey, I need a beat from you, obviously, to be on the album because I need a beat from everyone." You know, I was like, "I need a beat from you." He's like, "I have something for you," and I goes, "You know what?" As well goes to me, "That's some beat, mate. Can I hop on it?" And I was like, "Yeah, and you can hop on the album as well." He was like, "Yeah, definitely." So he went away and recorded it and sent it back to me in like a few days. And I heard it and I goes, "I'm not jumping on that. Like what? How stupid would I to be jumping on that? Like you'll make a holy show me. That's your song now." Like. And he was like, "Oh," and I goes, "But that's going on my album. Like that's your single on my album." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no bother." So it's literally not even my song. It's Aswell's song, but it was meant to be my song. But it's so good that I couldn't go on it. So I was like, "Yeah, that's track 3, mate." that's too good for me to even touch, like, because I'd only ruin that song. You know, so
Yeah.
that shows you the respect of the crew to go like, I love the beat, I want to make the song and all, but you just body that, like, that's your song now.
Yeah,
But
you
it's
know when
it's
it's
on my
somebody
album.
else's,
It's your
yeah.
song, but it's on my album. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's lovely. It's lovely. Because as well as a beast, like, you know, how could I even touch that? Could you imagine me coming on to Shane for the Lee after him? Silly. It'd be silly, like. It'd be silly, like.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Hey, and have you found like that? I don't know how to ask. Like, do you feel like lighter as a person the more you rap about, because of all your stuff is very personal and stuff, like, and it's like all like story. Well, like a lot of it is like stories and experiences and stuff. Do you find like, because I'd imagine like you're writing about that shit, so you're thinking about it and you're maybe thinking about it in ways you mightn't have before. Like, do you feel like you're actually getting shit out of you, like, and shit like they might normally?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I noticed it after when all this lockdown happened that I felt pure. Not bottled up and tense the whole time. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I really didn't know, and I was getting pissed off at all the boys and everything, and I was just pure emotional. Like, I didn't realize what it was, and then I realized I was like, I think I did one like live video on like an online gig, and it was so small, but it was down the commercial it was. And I felt amazing after it.
That's class.
And then I realized I was like, oh yeah, that's why I feel so bad, because I was so used to doing gigs every week that was, because I was never getting even sad or anything when I was gigging. I was like, I wasn't doing it because I'd wait. No, I'm not even gonna. That's not even gonna let that annoy me now. I'll let that annoy me on the night of the gig before I get on stage, and I'd fucking scream my lungs out then, and I'd get sick all over the place after it, and I'd forget about everything.
Sick, that's so
you know.
Yeah.
But it's the same with writing songs about them feelings as well, like the likes of, how can I say it, like Spilling Beans, the first EP. That was about a girl that broke my heart and me trying to get back into seeing girls and doing this thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I felt like that at the time. As soon as that was out, I didn't feel like that anymore. And I was like, why did I release that?
Yeah, that's funny.
No, and it's the same with the drug EP. When I released that, I was like, I'm getting out of all this shit because I don't want to start talking about drugs anymore. I'm gonna get an EP of talking about drugs, about coke, weed, tablets, and drink. That's the 4 things I'm gonna. I mean, and then the 5th one, I'll tell a story about heroin. That's what it was, chasing a dragon. Like, that's what I'll do, you know, and I'll get that out of the way. That's done. Then I was like, it's Misha. I'm gonna talk about me and nothing but me and all the things that make me me. Yeah. And then after that, when I made this Misha and I did the tour, I came home from the tour. I literally, that was my biggest dream, like since a young fella, was to make my own LP and tour the country with it. I came home and I felt like, this is it. Like, I'm done. Like, I had no other dream. Like, I had no other goal after it, you know? Yeah. And I was like, I never planned after this. Like, what the fuck? And for like a month or two, I felt like shit. Shit. But then it actually, you realize when you get the feedback from it, you see what people like and you know what you want to do. And I don't know,
that's why purpose is really good for like kind of mental health and sort of health and well-being generally, like having a purpose and having a dream and following it, and that's so important to us as human beings, you know. And when we don't have that, we're shit. When
we haven't like, especially when it's creative purpose as well, like I think there's a lot of like the stuff that I don't know I've been researching as well around, like I've been writing about for a couple of years now and stuff, like about sort of creativity and sort of, in a way, it's sort of like similar to, it's like, it's tied in the Eastern philosophies as sexuality is creativity and stuff like that. And that's how they see it over there. And you can nearly feel that, like, for me, like, it's nearly like that sort of urge of like, something has to come out, like, and it's similar to like that sexual energy and stuff in a weird way. And I over time, I could feel what the East meant by that. Like, but it's like this creative thing that like, you don't know that it's in, but you don't know what's wrong, but like, it's like the best, like creativity is the most underused sort of therapy or sort of meditation and shit like that. Like,
100%. Like, I don't think there's any better feeling than when you write a verse, but you're not even trying to be that hard on yourself writing a verse. And like, so if you're writing and it just starts flowing out and it keeps coming and coming, then you read it over and you're like,
that's why I think though.
And I'm like, I could probably go over this and fix bits and bobs. And you're like, nah, that is like the best feeling. Like, I remember writing, I was trying to make this scene in my head, but it wasn't rhyming or anything. It was just me talking about like building this scene, like a visualized scene.
That's cool.
And I wanted to make like a 5-minute little scene with no words, no nothing, but just a scene. I was writing it all out bit by bit. And within 3 minutes, I couldn't stop writing. And my chest was like, and I was hitting my lump in my throat the whole lot, and I started crying and all writing it, like, and I had to stop, like, and I goes, what is that? I didn't know what it was, and I was like, I felt pure alive after it, like, and I was like, this is exactly what I want to do in my life, like.
That's proper emotional clearing.
Yeah, it's so good. Like I was a new man after it, like completely.
I think that's, like, also though, that lockdown was really hard for a lot of musicians because of the fact that we're sitting down, and like, since you're locked inside you, there's absolutely nothing to draw from to write about. And like, I was sitting inside trying to write for months, and I couldn't get a word out. And then lockdown eventually ended, and I was like, unreal, I'm gonna be able to go back writing or whatever. And I came out, and I realized then that, like, I'd after being locked inside for however many months, and I had absolutely nothing to say, nothing to say. And I was describing it to lads, like, it felt like being like constipated. Like, I had, like, I was so hard pushing to get something out of me, and there was nothing. And it was like, I'd write 2 words and just throw away the thing and just be so annoyed at yourself then. But I think that's just part of the process as well. And when you do come back from it, you come back like 10 times harder. Like, so.
Yeah. So
do you reckon the songs come from somewhere else? Like, or like, you know, you often hear songwriters saying that they need to keep out of the way of the song themselves, or it just goes through them. You know what I mean? And did you ever dream songs? That was the other one.
I think for myself, I'd say movies and things would be a big thing for me.
Okay.
With influence wise towards songs. Dreaming about things, no, I've never dreamed about things, though, to be honest. Like, I never heard a melody or anything like that in my head, or lyrics or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know, it's more of like how a person would react to something. Like, no, like the linguistics of someone. Like, I love that. Like, if I seen someone react to that question, like react some way to that question, I'd be like, I know him inside out just from that reaction. And that influences me to write so much about that kind of person, or what makes me that type of person, that kind of a thing, you know. I don't know, it's the little tiny little things. I'm a bit of a weirdo when it comes to that, to be honest. Like, because I could be looking at someone, I could have a conversation with someone, and they could be talking to me, and he could say a word. I love new words. Like, they say one word to me, and I'd be like, and everything you said after that word is blank. And I'm just thinking in my head 1,000 rhymes for that word. I'm like, no. Yeah, I'll see you later, bro. How'd you spell that word? He's like, what word? Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
No, there's definitely a thing as well of like, just I think emotions, like, drawn from one emotion and putting it all onto a page is like one of the most therapeutic things you can do for yourself. Like, and I even find that, like, a lot of time when I'm writing, it's like I'd be like scrolling through Instagram, and I just see like the most like a picture that perfectly like describes a mood of just like, draw a picture of someone or a picture of like a place, and all of a sudden I can just completely draw off that and write down. But like I said, like when you're lacking any other influence and you're just like stuck inside, it's so hard to draw from things. But I think everyone in PX,
being depressed.
Everyone in PX is such a weird, different writing process. No, I don't think any two of us write the same kind of way.
There's some commonalities you have, though. Like what you were saying about throwing the paper away and stuff. Like, and I assume you can all do that. Like, which sounds like a really like stupid thing to say, but like that's such a rare ability for anyone that finds a creative purpose. They tend to get lost in like having that creative purpose, and then like forcing it out and being like, they'll make excuses for this shit, being like, they know deep down that this is shit, but they'll still put it out because they make excuses. But maybe it's this or that. Like, and
it goes 2 ways as well, in the sense that you can also be way too hard on yourself, and like there's verses I've thrown away that a couple of months later I'm like, Jesus, that actually was.
I think that's the best thing about having the crew as well, though, is because I think that half of my shit would be shit, and Krome be like, no, like, that is amazing, like, release that, like, you know. And we're all like that, like, because you put yourself down so much, Strange Boy puts himself down so much, all the boys are like, but it could be this, could be that, and I'm like, what? No, like, and then I'm the same, I'm the exact same. I'm like, it's a bit much, that, like, you know, it's a bit smart, and the boys are like, that is amazing. All stink faces around the room, like, and you're like, I don't know, you know. But that's the good thing about having a crew as well, where you're like, because you can be so hard on yourself, like, of course, like, you know, when you're making so much music and all the boys are making bangers as well, and you're like, no, my man's not up there, and the boys are like, that's fucking unreal, you know. So it's good to have the crew, like, that.
It goes the other way too as well, of that if you make a tune and like the lads think that you're not up to what you could be doing on it, they will straight away tell you that like you could do way better than that, like.
And they're like, nah, bro, like, I don't like the recording of that, or it's like, you could definitely approach that in a different way, and I'm like, or like, stop screaming. Why when you just do this, or I wouldn't sing that, mate, or you should sing that, mate. You know?
It's kind of, that's
which is a lovely
rare
thing.
It's kind of rare to have that sort of supportive perspective and stuff. Normally,
I think that everyone is shocked about that about us as well,
yeah.
because I know, as I said, we show each other our songs before they're released.
Yeah, that's really
and
cool.
we take that criticism all day, like, you know.
Yeah, to get the genuine
if Krome
feedback.
don't stink face, if he don't stink face to my song, then it's not coming out. Like,
Yeah.
facts, like,
That's cool.
and that's just how it goes. Like, and it's not even, it's unspoken now. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like you send it into the group chat and go, oh, here you go. Or you could like or a video even. I send it into the group chat and go, here it is, boys. What you think? And the boys are like, I like that now, mate. But see that scene there, that's decent. I would have done this different though. And I'd be like, all right, yeah. Then you might get 2 or 3 opinions. Might go, nah, it's perfect. Then another 2, but and then I'd sit there and I'd go, I could tell them to go fuck themselves. I can tell them to go, you're dead right, man. I'm gonna text the videographer this minute because that's a better idea than I thought of. Which is a beauty. And no one ever goes, I want credit for that. I want this because everyone is just
there.
This, you know?
That's brilliant.
I love how as well will like take, like he'll write a whole verse and he could write like 16 bars and he'll take out 15 of them and he could leave like 2 words and those 2 words will become a whole tune.
Yeah,
so like he saves, I think he saves nearly everything that he does and turns it into something. It's incredible. It's a really, really cool writing process. So he does. But
weird.
Then like obviously the other thing of me and Strange are like constantly, I think, throwing verses away and stuff. But
that's really
Strange
cool.
Boy is the worst for it. Strange Boy make a song like, and he'd literally go, "That's crap, delete that." And I'm like, "What?
It's the best song I've ever heard." Then like,
that's way better than anything I've ever made. Like, and he's like, "Nah, it's shit, boy, delete it, boy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll delete it, mate." Well, I'm saying to Murray, "Yeah, he'll delete it, mate."
Yeah.
You know, don't ever delete it, like
Hey.
literally, like, or even with verses, he be at all the shit he spit on, even the features of mine. He's like, I don't know, like, what you think? Like, nah, look, just take it off. So if you don't know what I mean, I don't really like it. Just take it off. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, no, I'm not taking it off. That's staying on there. It's one of the best verses on the whole song. Like he murdered actors. Like, I was like, yeah, you have to go last. Like, so you have to go. He was like, watch out what to write about. I was like, I want you to write about being the biggest scumbag that ever walked out. And he was like, right, I'm going to be robbing Nana's shopping. So, oh, that's like, yeah, exactly, mate. Robbing dogs and all that. That's exactly it. Like, and that's where the whole verse came from. Like,
that's savage.
You know?
And what's it like now with, like, you know, you're still living at the island, yeah?
Yeah.
So what's that like fucking when, like, I don't know, like, so you would have seen, like, being around, would you still see, like, I assume you still see, like, many people that you would have from a young age, like, do they?
Oh, yeah, every one of them, like, the ones that are not locked up or dead anyway.
Yeah. And do they, like, what's their, like, perception on you now, like, from what they might have seen you
like,
as?
First, it was like, what are you doing? Like, copy yourself on, like, you know, you're like, why? I'm probably the only person down there with a beard, like, and long hair, like, you know, literally, like, or the person that wears these clothes, like, literally, like, I'm not even joking with you. And, sorry, what we saying? I must have gone off topic there.
Just no, you were like, just about, like, do they see you, like, different now to how they would have, like
now they slope me because all their kids and everything, sure, they listen to it and they love it. Like, I know boys like to get, like, I've met boys so much in the last year, like Krome can tell you this, walking out of town, boys that are just out of jail, like, and going, bro, been listening to the whole time in RT Pulse, boy, it's Misha, the song is Misha, young Irish prisoners, you're dead right, brother. They love it. My young fella loves the song, what's that, or this is my city, you know, and all this, and all the influence. Every time I see him, years ago, it was like, what are you doing? But now all the influencers are like, when's your next music video? Can I be in your next music video? Or like, when you doing this? Or you left him in it now the last time. I'm asking you months. What you leaving me in one? Like, you know, so it's become a way better thing. And the fact that the local restaurant Sticks next to King John's Castle, they fucking put me up on the wall there next to Phil Lynott.
I've seen that. That's cool.
Springsteen, and that alone to me is like, I went there. I used to save money. I used to get money for the bus coming home from school, like €1.70 or something a day. I saved that for 3 days, lads. 3 days, like, and I go up around the corner from school to go with the Sticks and get a stick special. Now I go in there and I'm on the fucking wall next to Phil Lynott, like, that's beautiful. Like, and my younger sister does the exact same thing that I used to. Then all the children from the island, all my mother's friends, the father's friends, the whole community, they all look at me now and they're all like, hey, I'm a kid, like, you're on the wall of fame now, man. I'm like, I've been telling you this years, I've been telling you, man. You know?
One of the coolest things I thought was actually, we did a photo shoot down the island a couple of months ago, and what's the young fella who knows everybody, his name?
Oh yeah, the biggest fan. Like,
he is like, like, I remember that basically came up and there was a couple of us there. Like, and I loved your tune, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh my god, this is Citrus," and he recognizes everyone, and like he's loving it because, like, everyone.
Yeah, you hear the internet's breaking up there, shit.
And half the times you think they were slagging you, but they're literally not. Like, they're just excited. Like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it?
Is this gone out of sync? Can you hear us?
Yeah, it kind of went out of sync there for a second. Yeah. Can you guys hear? No.
Fuck. Can they hear us? Can you hear us? You?
Yeah, it's back now, is it?
Back,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
back.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
back.
Yeah,
Back.
yeah,
All
Yeah,
right, nice
class.
one, nice one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, a fair bit of that broke up there.
Yeah. Hey, I was watching that Somewhere in Ireland thing. That's pretty cool. Like the videography and the composition of the shots, everything. How did that come about? Oh, it's gone again, is it?
Is it? Fuck.
Fuck.
Connection, I think, man.
Shit.
You're back.
Is it? No way. Oh,
It
fuck.
was like, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear
It's
you.
back again, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Ireland.
Yeah. How did that come about? It looks class. Like it's just so fucking well put together.
I met Jack O'Flynn, which is brown sauce, through with PX, like, and we were up in Alan White's house, I think it is, Snow White Music, and just chatting to him, became like, no idea like who the man was. I just knew he was Humans of the Sesh at the time, and I just knew the page Humans of the Sesh, but I was like, oh, that's me, man, like, and I just got on well with him like that, and then he's like, I love the tune. What's that? Would you like to make a video for it? I have a few ideas, and I was like, yes, 100%, please, like, you know. And then out of that, he was like, wait, what if we got all these other artists like Chili, Hoover, Kenny U, and get fucking Citrus, Strange Boy, get Aswell and all the boys, and let's make a series out of it. Like the Mary Wallopers are meant to be in it as well. They were meant to be the last episode, but it was never released.
No way, the boys, but they were. I seen them. They were in like.
They're in the start of the What's
shit.
That video show. They're in the start of it as the bosses, like kicking in the bathroom door, going, "Alright."
That was so cool. Yeah.
So good. And I never met them boys before that. Like that day, that was my first time meeting them boys as well. Like,
Oh man,
no, but
those
yeah,
lads are
it was
funny.
like a couple of weeks of straight shooting. But it was literally just all boys, all of us, all the boys, like all a group of friends inside a big warehouse,
That's class.
and with a big strobe light and fucking about 4 cameras and a speaker, like, and yeah, it was some process. It was, and even the gig. The show, oh my God, I've never witnessed anything like it in my life. That was probably that looked an awakening point for me. When we were all watching it inside Pharmacia on a big screen, and I was standing in the middle of the crowd, the place was jam-packed, and then it just, the very minute that scene comes on where the bathroom door opens and I looks up like this, the whole place erupted, man. Like, I got grabbed by like 7 different people, like pushed me going, amazing. And I was literally, I could just feel it in my heart and soul. I was like, oh, this is like, beautiful, like this is amazing.
That's class.
And then we went up to Dublin and did it as well, and we got up in Dublin. I was like, how does everyone know the lyrics of this shit, boy? Who are you people, boy? And they were like, do it again, boy, do it again. I'm like, all right, let's do it again.
That's mad.
It's good. It's really good. Really good.
That's cool.
Well, let's get you down to Turles to do it again, yeah?
Oh yeah, definitely. Let us know. I'm mad to do something.
Definitely. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it must have been mad like when I don't know, like for when it gets to the point, where strangers might be coming up to you, like, or people singing words to a thing that you just once used to put on to fucking Paddy Powers or Ladbrokes fucking notes, and now you have like people you never kind of knew existed, and like there's like this weird, they're connected to you, but you're not so connected to them. Like, is that
people
must
coming
be
up
weird.
saying like that's my song, bro. Like you wrote that song about me, like that's my song. Like, and I'm
that's
like,
mad.
like, nah, bro, that's about me. That's
yeah.
my song. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? It's lovely to hear it because people are like, that song got me through this, or like you don't realize what your song is after doing for me. Like, and I'm like, oh, thank you, bro, thank you very much. He's like, nah, bro, like this song means so much to me. Like, thank you so much. Like, and I'm like, or even people like the last few weeks where people are drawing pictures of me, like fan art.
Yeah, I seen
and
that.
sending them to me, and I'm like, what the fuck, like?
That's mad.
What are you drawing me for? Like the head in me?
We had a fella on Instagram drew like the Last Supper, but with like all the X members and all Lemon Pie members, and it was like it was out of nowhere.
It was like
the coolest thing I'd ever seen. It was so cool.
Yeah. It's like mythology mixed with. We were all this kind of weird,
like devilly.
It's so cool. Though.
Was that artist that does all that Celtic mythology stuff? Was it?
Yeah, I think he's like Tariq Billet on Instagram.
Yeah,
I think is his name.
He's only young place, isn't he? 17, 18 or something.
That's mad. That's really cool.
We're
going to finish up now anyway. I just have a final question. Like, how did you get that baby guy eating an orange in that?
As I said, the Island Field, lad, there's peacocks, pigs, llamas, goats. Oh, bro.
It's a petting zoo.
Come down.
Really? Yeah.
Everything and anything's down now. I'm not joking with you. I'm literally not joking with you. That's just little Billy, but his name is Billy. The goat is Billy. His name is Billy. He's just always in the field. He lives where the that field right there, right across the road, that's where he lives, in that garden. Like, but I was outside, and my younger cousin Roisin, the girl in the video.
Yeah.
Her uncle on her father's side, we see her mother would be my aunt. So her uncle on her father's side, he owns the goat. So she was like, bring out Billy there, and I'd take him out, and he was like, yeah, no bother. He's out anyway. He goes out there every day to eat grass and get an orange anyway. So
That's mad. That's fucking
we were just there at the time.
orange.
Like, you know? Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
at the
fair.
time. It looked fair good. It looked fair good.
Yeah, it looked really
good. It looked like
good.
a nice orange as well.
Yeah, fucking sound for coming on, lads. And
thanks
it was planned to fucking. We weren't expecting you, Krome. So if you're up for it, we definitely get you onto an episode if you're up for it one of the days, Krome.
100%.
Yeah, that'd be
really
cool. Yes, sound for coming on, lads, and like fucking.
Yeah, Goramila, lads.
Wanna,
thank you so much, honestly.
Do you want to just give like a little podcast shout out to Nana Mary?
Oh yeah.
Because I fucking loved that tune.
Shout out to Nana Mary.
Yes.
Everything from nothing, baby.
Yeah, love
That's
it.
funny.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, lads. Lovely chatting to you.
Yeah,
Honestly,
thanks
God,
a million,
really
lads.
great chat.
Talk to you.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Have a good one.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.